Hello. Welcome.
How are you, Katie?
I'm doing all right. We haven't seen each other in a hot minute, so this is nice.
It is. I missed you. You're
I
beautiful.
missed you
face.
too. Aw.
Aw. Okay.
Aw.
Stop with the compliments. Let's move on.
Gross.
I mean-
I could just do the intro instead. That would work, wouldn't it?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to all the films we judged before. I'm Katie, and that is the effervescent Lily Kay.
Ah, stop it. And you keep going with the compliments. Then you are the beautiful Katie, and I am not Troy Baker. So, still,
Always good.
it's oh well. We have a very special guest today, who is our dear friend and my lemur brother. It is the one and only RobotNinjaShark, Mr. Ryan. Please come on.
There it is. What's
There he is.
up?
Look at him. That majestic beard and everything.
Exactly.
It's just
Look at me.
you're
Look at
beautiful.
me.
Do you have a cup that you
Anyway.
can just
No, we're not doing that again.
Oh god.
No, we're good.
All right.
What's up, ladies?
Aw,
Hi.
good. What's up
Doing
with
all right.
you? Introduce yourself for everyone who might not know you, which would be a surprise, but still, there are people who don't know people. So introduce yourself.
One of these people will be my mother, so you should introduce yourself specifically for my mother.
There you go.
Katie's mother. First of all, great job.
Aw.
Great job. I mean, just
It's true.
Just
She did do a great job.
class act. Good to go there. I'm Ryan Smith, also known as Robot Ninja Shark. I am technically partially a Robot Ninja Shark. And yeah, I'm Lily and Katie's second biggest fan behind Thinneth.
Wow. That's
Oh.
impressive.
Oh, okay.
Number two, and it's close margin. It's a pretty close margin.
Yes. We might soon have a fight between.
I was
Tim
gonna
and
say,
Ryan, I
Tin's
feel
gonna
like.
put up his game like immediately.
I feel like I could take him.
Ooh.
Well, to be fair, like when you started messaging me about our latest episode, I was like, I messaged Katie and I was like, I think we have a new Tinette. A new Tinette just arrived. I was like, oh. I love
Because
it.
I watch.
Yes,
No,
and
honestly,
I loved it.
This is the thing. Like coming on this, I don't want to talk about anything we're supposed to talk about. I just want to like return to conversations I've heard from you guys and say, okay, so you don't like Thor. I know that, you know.
Well, no, I like Thor. I think Thor: The Dark World was an iffy one.
Was it the Dark World that you were talking about?
Mm.
Ah. See, I
Yeah.
just recently went back and watched the first Thor, and it's the fact that like 90% of it is in a Dutch angle where it's all tilted. And that
True,
once you
Anna
see it,
said.
I've literally just ruined that movie for you forever. Because once you see it, you cannot see anything else.
Yeah, it's very true. It is very true. And but I like the first Thor movie.
Mm.
The second one, eh.
I
mean,
remember
it's
like
a
being all right
Marvel,
with it.
but yeah, but it's not as great as it could have been, and
No.
they particularly messed up the main evil of the story, which
Poor
could
Chris.
have been such a great character, and then they just nope, it's just never came together. So I think that's the problem with the second Thor movie.
I
Okay.
agree with you. And what I try to see with movies like that is to appreciate the artistry of every individual in there. Every person who worked on it they're true artists, but I think you're right. The problem was with how it came together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know how it could have been better because I remember so little about it
Yeah,
other
that's
than
one of the big
you know
things.
appreciating individual things.
I think what messed it up for me is that they had these two very emotional scenes. One being, the death of Freya, and the second one being Loki's death. We know him. What I hated about it is that they have that beautiful funeral scene for Freya, and right after that scene, they got to a funny one, and it was so out of balance that I was like, wait, I'm still in the grieving process, so please don't make a joke right after you just killed someone.
Here's the thing. if we didn't get Thor: The Dark World, we wouldn't have got all of the amazing scenes that Taika Waititi managed to do with Thor Ragnarok,
my
such
God.
as Matt Damon's brilliant cameo.
Oh my god.
My God. Yes.
And you know that now Matt Damon is coming on to the
Yeah, I
MCU.
heard about that. We were
Wait,
my
what?
friends and I were talking about that the other day. He's going to be in the fourth one.
Yeah. Like as a proper.
We thought it would be really funny if he just
character,
kept
so-
turning up in movies and like playing the same guy who just like was...
Yes. He's the new Bruce Campbell, just showing
Yes.
up in every movie.
He just
Yes.
comes back and he like plays like the comical sort of acted version of a different character from a different movie, or he's like just the actor of Asgard.
Oh my god. That would be so much fun. Like, come on. Come on. I love it. But to be fair, I wanted to say something. Oh yes, now I looked at myself, I realized it. I look like Darcy. Is
Oh,
it
you
just
have got
me?
a Darcy look to you.
I'm digging it.
It's good.
You,
I
you-
really
you
like
need
that.
a brighter lipstick. That might just be Kat Dennings, though.
You just
I
think
don't
Kat
have
Dennings
one
has that
maybe.
naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah, her lips are just clown red.
Yeah, it's just like there.
I was just born like this. Yeah, I just like I'm enjoying your little lemur sit next to you, and I just wanted to point out that I
Aw.
have this is Marshmallow, and he's keeping my lap warm because it's freezing in here.
Well, he's sitting on my knee, and this is a very special lemur. His name is Ryan, and I got it from Ryan because we are Lemur brothers.
We are Lemur brothers. We.
Oh,
Bless
Oh
you.
my
It's true.
God bless you.
That was
Thank
so
you.
cute.
I'm done sneezing now. Thank you very much.
Wait, did I just say we're Lemur brothers?
Yes.
Right.
We
Lemur
are.
siblings.
Yeah.
Lemur twins.
Oh, yeah, twins. That
Yeah.
I mean, look at us.
Yes.
Like, come on.
Clearly twins.
Definitely twins.
Yeah, nobody said that twins were. Not all twins are identical. I've known many
That
types
is
of
very
twins in
true.
my life.
That is very true.
Yeah, but the cool ones are identical.
It's true. I have known identical twins.
And we are cool.
Okay. So we can't talk Thor without talking WandaVision.
Oh my
Okay.
god, yes.
We'll do that real quick.
And that fits, I feel, so well into everything we're discussing today.
This is true.
100%. So, Katie, are you caught up on one?
I am caught up on WandaVision.
Beautiful. I lost my damn mind.
Oh yeah, just
at
as a
the
point,
end
we
of
are going to do a
episode
bunch of
5.
spoilers now.
Yeah, it's spoilers. We are, well, not really, because we already, like, you know, a new episode just came
I'm just
out
making sure.
with the future. Yeah, fine. But, you know, if you go on Twitter, like, on the very same day, you're going to find every single spoiler, which is just,
Yeah.
like...
They're all
blows my mind.
trending. That's the thing. They're trending.
See,
Yeah,
I just want to say for any audience, if you have not seen WandaVision, pause this
Go watch all of it.
and go watch all of WandaVision. Don't log on Twitter. Just
just watch
put
it.
yourself in a box. Disney Plus. That's all
Yep.
you need.
Yep, and done. So what do we think? We have theories. So I definitely have a few, but I want to hear Ryan's first because I feel like we did discuss something. So I would like you to share it with our audience and Katie as well, because I don't know if Katie knows.
I've already shared this with you. So we're talking about Pietro.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now a lot of people are saying that's Mephisto. That's
Oh,
the
but
most
he-
commonly
okay.
thing that I'm hearing. That's not my theory.
No. That's not
But
the one
that
I've
is-
seen the
Not
most
mine
of.
either.
And the only reason that's not my theory is it's difficult for me to accept that Disney would put the devil as a main character in their show. When I've heard from the cast of WandaVision that this is really defining where the future of the MCU is going,
Mm-hmm.
that there are places in this world where that would just like be a hard stop on anything Marvel if they introduce characters like that. So I'm not saying they won't. I'm just saying I don't completely buy that it's going to be the same Mephisto that everybody is looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I do, however, feel very strongly that Juan did not bring Pietro back. That Billy did.
Oh, interesting. That's one I have not heard.
Because we have Wanda explaining to Billy and Tommy that her brother is a long way away and she misses him very much. And that's all that Billy and Tommy know about Pietro.
Yeah.
They don't even know his name, which if you look at Pietro's reaction when she says his name, but he doesn't recognize it.
True, but I will point out that within the X-Men universe, he's not Pietro, he's Peter.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's the only
But
thing.
he's
I
also
don't
not
really know.
Peter Maximoff in, in this reality
Yeah.
she's in right now.
Yeah, it's a very weird thing. The one I've seen the most of is that Catherine Hahn's character is somebody called Agnes. I don't know anything about the comic stuff, so that really this is all new to me. I'm seeing it just sort of face value, but that one seems to be coming up a lot. That she's the one that's actually controlling everything, and that Wanda's kind of only supposedly in control of certain things, and that she just doesn't want to come out and fight against anything. This is the one I've seen the most of. I'm honestly going by other people's theories because I don't have any other context other than what I'm seeing.
Lily, you disagree.
I disagree.
Okay, I really don't know.
No, not because of that. Like, I told Ryan as well that I think that the reason that we didn't get the MCU Pietro, meaning Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yes.
Did I say? Yes, gotcha. My problem with Anya and they have the same name, and I keep completely confusing them. It's because obviously Wanda said that he's dead in this reality, in this universe.
Yeah.
So I think since we're gonna get Wanda in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, it's already in there, multiverse. So Billy had to grab a Pietro from somewhere else, and that's how we got the X-Men.
That's the other thing I have seen, and I'm like, okay, that sounds plausible. I understand it completely. I think the thing that's intriguing me the most at the moment is this idea that they've put forward that it's Wanda doing all of this, but it's clearly not just Wanda doing all of this, because there seems to be something else happening outside of her control.
Yeah, but I do not believe that it's going to be Mephisto either. Like, that's the other thing that I agree with Ryan on that, because I liked it in the comics, but as Ryan said, I don't think it would work in the MCU as of right now. Maybe in a different form, which they could easily do because they already changed a lot. Rightfully so. I would put that in there. Like, I love the changes that the MCU makes next to the comics, but I would say that I have another theory where I think Wanda is going to turn evil. And I think that she's going to be the big bad in Doctor Strange. I wouldn't be surprised, at least, because I think her grief is just beyond measure, basically. And no matter how they're going to try to reach her now, it's not going to happen. Like, I do have a strong feeling about that. Like, we obviously see that her powers are now just above everything else. And it would make sense. I am at that point where I would say it would make sense. I also gonna say that I really felt for her in episode 5. I think Elizabeth Olsen did such a wonderful job. Like, I was proper sad for Wanda because I could feel her grief, and it completely makes sense that she would create this reality for herself, and would want to live in this, and obviously could not comprehend that what she's doing might be wrong, in a lot of ways, because for her all that matters that she got back the love of her life, basically, and that's it. That's all that matters to her. So,
I like the way that there's clearly like another thing going on underneath it, though, because they've already, we were at episode 5 and they're supposedly like, here it is, Wanda's doing everything, but it's like, it's clearly not that simple. And I'm interested to see what else happens after that.
See, this is why I love this show so much, and this is why I wanted to talk about what we're talking about today, which we haven't even gotten into, but mind-bending films and... Oh, fair enough. So, with a show like this, what we know going into it is that the rules are broken, or the rules have changed. And we don't know entirely what those new rules are, and we don't know entirely why they're different. And that to me, like, that is encapsulating childhood.
Yes.
Like, when we enter this world for the first 10 years or so, we are just trying to figure out what's real and why it's real and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think there's a sense of these types of shows, and this one does it so well.
Mm-hmm.
And movies like this, where it breaks our brains a little to a place that we have been before. This is a familiar place, whether we remember it or not.
That is
I love it.
that's a fun way of putting it. I hadn't and thought of it like that before, but I like that as a concept. That's gonna be something I'm all over for a bit.
Understandably
It's the same
so.
reason we love magic tricks, right? It's we know that it's a trick, but the idea of I cannot wrap my head around what is really happening here.
Yeah.
That's I'm a junkie when it comes to that stuff, but I love it.
It's fantastic. Like, come on. I remember watching the first episode of WandaVision, and while I enjoyed it, up until the point where we are having the dinner scene,
Yeah.
I was like, I am not sure about this. Like, I love everything, like how Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany works together, and I love that it's basically the MCU still, but it just felt different. And then, when the weird stuff started to happening, I was like, ooh, okay. I don't know why I doubted you.
Like that element of like really surreal horror that gets
yes.
implemented in that first episode, where it's
Oh
like
my
everything's
God.
fine, and then suddenly it's like that thing of like everything is it's that thing of everything is normal except this one thing that feels very off, but you can't really put a finger on what it is
Yeah,
or
but
why exactly it's happening in this situation. So you kind of sit there going, "This is just uncomfortable. I'm not really sure what to do with myself right now."
Yeah, and let's just remember that that's the only scene that they never explained. Like, they explained everything as the beekeeper, the helicopter that Wanda finds. Everything was explained in episode 4, and this was the only scene that they never explained. So we don't know what happened there. Like, something clearly went off for everyone in that scene, and that's still a mystery. Like,
Yeah.
what was going on in there, and I love that. I was like,
Yeah. I think it's
But
very
then-
impressive that they've managed to go this far, answered as many questions as they have, whilst also keeping certain questions open and making new questions on top of that. Which I think is a very delicate balance. Because I was worried watching that fourth episode that they were answering too many things. And even going into episode 5, I was like, I feel like maybe they were getting too much stuff, but now, especially seeing everybody's like theories on it, I'm like, okay, there's still stuff going on. It's just, yeah, I think it's fun. I will say, just to go back to Pietro real quick, I saw Pietro trending when I woke up the morning of the episode coming out, so I was like, I guess something's going on here, but I made sure not to look at anything, so I watched the episode. So when he turned up at the end, I was like, oh, okay, so this is what they're referring to. But it was only when it like switched round and you saw it was Evan Peters Quicksilver, I actually out loud went, oh shit.
I almost fainted. I was like, what?
So one of the, I love being able to watch something like that and like actually have to articulate out loud. Like, it wasn't just me sitting there in bed being like, yes, this is fun, but I was actually like, oh god, there's like stuff happening. Like that's different.
You know that they
That's
are doing
different.
it right.
Yeah.
They are doing it right, and I love that. Like, I lost my shit at that scene. I was like, oh my god, and then immediately my fan mind went like, oh Jesus Christ, here's the theory, and I think, oh my god. And also, I want to point out that every single time that an episode ends, Disney Plus wants you to watch Age of Ultron again. So here's the question: do we think that Ultron is still alive and that he could come back?
No, but that's mostly because I don't care about Ultron.
That's a big mistake. But yes, Ryan.
So I know that James Spader's voice will be in this show as Ultron.
Interesting.
Wait,
What that means, nobody knows.
I'm just realizing that what you said. I was like, well, wait. How did you know
That's
that?
I mean, and basically, like, episode 3 came out, and I was
Yes.
trying to figure out who one of the actors or actresses was, and I don't even remember who it was, but I was just Googling cast of WandaVision, and on episode 3, the first things that popped up were Evan Peters, and and James Spader as Ultron. So
Interesting.
that was, I don't remember if I saw it on IMDb as well, but it was up there. We also know that the Deborah, I can't remember her last name, the mom from 70s Show that was in that first episode, she is going to have one more appearance. So she
Yes,
is coming
yes, I
back
do
too.
know
Oh,
that.
her,
Yeah,
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 yeah, okay.
yeah, yeah.
So we will get
Hmm.
some answers as to what was going on there.
Interesting, because I think Ultron is so he still has such a good potential to come back, and I can see in my head a scenario where he survives somehow. At least a piece of his mind maybe survives somehow. I I don't know how, but somehow it's still lingering around. So I wouldn't be surprised. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they would bring back Ultron in a way. That's all I'm saying, because there are some weird shit going on that we still didn't figure out.
WandaVision, there's some weird shit going on.
That's what makes it perfect, though. I was trying to think of like when the last time a movie like this came out or a show like this came out,
Hmm.
where it developed that sense of excited anticipation and confusion.
Yes.
Like Lost, way
Mm,
back in the day,
yeah,
yes, that did this, but at a way slower pace.
yeah.
Yes.
But even the last movie, you had mentioned The Signal. That was what,
Oh my
2014.
god.
That's the
Yes.
last one that I can think of.
The one that got recommended, I saw somebody recommend because I also recommended because it is Legion was sort of close to this in I think the first
Oh
season.
yes.
It's
Yes.
the
Yes.
same sort of very strange, surreal atmosphere where like shit's just going sideways, and I
Hmm.
think the first season is just a freaking masterpiece of television. But I also think
It's really
that not
good.
enough people saw it, so every so often I'm like, people need to watch Legion. Eventually, I will finish the third season, but I don't know when.
uh, the thing is, because why Ryan is here is not just
Mm.
because he's the coming close to become the number one stan, taking over
Are
Dylan's place. I'm pushing this fight. I want to say
Stirring the pot.
it's because we want to talk about mind bending movies, and
Mm.
that's why WandaVision is a very good choice. And yes, Fight Club is a very good choice. And I'm just gonna say this before we start with any questions. I think if I said this once, I will say it again. I think one of the hardest genres to nail is horror.
Mm.
And I think the second hardest one is doing a proper mind bending movie where the whole thing doesn't just turn into something very shitty. Like,
Well, you just figure it out within 5 minutes.
yeah, yeah, basically, So I think and that's why we have, I would say, less movies in this category, because
Mm.
I think it's really, really hard to nail. And that's why we have many, but we have just a few that are actually freaking great. And it's just like horror. It's the same with horror as well. And there are
Let's see if I
mind-bending
can.
horror movies as well.
This is true.
I'm
I mean, mind bending and those kind of mind bending movies and horror go very well together.
Oh my god, yes. Oh my god,
I wrote.
yes. And
I went to Google mind bending movies and I wrote mind horror.
fair deal.
Yeah, that's terrifying. That's Shutter Island. That's mind
Yeah,
horror
that's true.
right there.
Yes, that is very true.
Make an excellent
So
point.
we are turning to you, Ryan, and please tell me, if you can choose just one, I'm gonna be mean and I will say just one. What is your favorite mind-bending movie?
Ah,
I'm evil.
yeah, that was a French film. God. So, can I just literally say anything by like an early Christopher Nolan?
Well, I think Lily would be thrilled with that.
Yeah, I would be. I would
Yeah,
probably faint.
God, there's genuinely so okay. You're gonna disagree with this one, I know, but if I were to pick one,
Mm-hmm.
I would probably say Vanilla Sky.
No.
I have heard of it. I haven't watched Vanilla Sky. You're not a fan of Vanilla Sky.
I'm not. It's definitely not the most enjoyable one. And it's
Okay.
not the one that you want to watch over and over. But I remember being completely blown away by that one because it was so utterly confusing. And
That's very
there was
true.
a lot of people who left the theater. I saw that in theaters, and there was probably 10 people who left at various points during the movie. So it is not for everybody, but it's Cameron Crowe. It's Cameron Crowe.
It is.
Wait, has Vanilla Sky got I know it's got Tom Cruise in it. Was that one? Did that have Jake Gyllenhaal in it as well? Was that one of his early roles, or am I thinking of a different movie?
I think you're
I might be
thinking
thinking of a different
one.
movie.
I don't think that Jake was in it because then I would probably like it more.
There is a movie around that time that's got a name like Vanilla Sky.
Donnie Darko. That's
And no, it
Jake.
wasn't Donnie Darko.
Yeah,
It
it
was.
fits right in, though.
It does. Donnie Darko was a weird one for me because I had heard so much like people talking about Donnie Darko for a long time, and I had a concept of the kind of mind bending that it would be, and it wasn't that at all. So when I watched it, I was kind of like, oh, okay, this is entirely different from the
yes.
the expectations I had of it, and I'd have to watch it again to really, I think, appreciate it for what it is as opposed to what I thought it was going to be.
Now, how many
But-
times have you seen it?
Just the once.
That is a movie you have got to watch more than once.
Yeah.
And I in my opinion, the reason for that is most of these other mind-bending films, you get an explanation by the end. Donnie Darko, they never actually state the explanation. They imply things throughout the entire movie, and it is so easy to miss them. It's so easy not to connect them, but at no point do they ever connect the dots for you.
Just want to point out the one I'm thinking of for Jake Gyllenhaal is called October Sky, and that was why I was confused.
Yep.
Another excellent film.
That's excellent. Yeah. Okay. Why do you like Vanilla Sky? Because I watched it once. Maybe that was the problem, but I could never got into it. So I want you to convince me to watch it again. There you go. That's the challenge.
That is a challenge. So, I mean, it does make it a little bit more difficult once you know exactly what's going on. Because
I don't know what's going on, so don't spoil it for me, and I quite like to watch it.
So
okay, I have
it's an
literally
even
nothing to
harder
say about this.
challenge.
No, I mean, like I said, it is Cameron Crowe, who, say anything, one of the greatest movies of all time, in my opinion. Yes, I will.
I haven't seen it. This is the
Yes,
thing.
yes. No, screw it. I'm sticking to that. I love that movie. I'm older than you, so I'm allowed to.
What's it got to do with it?
That is very much a movie of its time. No, and he is just a master filmmaker.
True.
There is a sense of scale to that film. I'm trying to describe all the things I love about that movie without actually spoiling anything.
Okay.
We
could just send Katie out. Katie, go.
Yeah,
come
Katie,
back in
go
5
spend
minutes.
3 hours watching
I'm
that
gonna
movie.
be. Oh, hang on. We have. Sorry, we've just been gifted.
There you go.
On the thing.
I told you. See, that's what happened when I first did it. Yes.
Here's okay. I will say this because this doesn't actually spoil anything. So often it's easy to figure out what is actually going if you've watched enough mind-bending films. You can say, oh, it's all a dream sequence, or they've been abducted by aliens and they're being tested on. And it's easy to guess a lot of these things. There are so many parts of this movie that feel like a dream sequence and behave like a dream sequence in the same way that WandaVision does, where there's like a dream logic going on in there. But the amount of time that passes and, the characters are introduced, that it's not a dream. So it's almost like going back to a magic trick. It's like it's a magic trick where there's only one possible explanation. They're using wires to hold something up, but that there are no wires there. There's proof there's no wires. And for me, that is what makes that film so good, because the only explanation you kind of have going through 80-90% of the movie, you're just the whole time saying, no, it's not that. It can't be that. It can't be that.
Interesting.
And it's not that. But it's for
It's
me, it was
something.
worth the payoff. I can't tell if I'm persuading you or not.
Not really. But you're getting close. You're getting close. I
Screw
might
it, The
rewatch
Matrix. All right, that's my pick. The Matrix. Fine.
Yeah, I was like, would you refer to The Matrix as a mind-bending movie? And then I just looked at my Google search of mind-bending movies, and it's under sci-fi mind-bending movie. So I'm gonna, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I think
I mean,
Troy
it
would
absolutely.
agree with you.
It's that idea that you know the rules are broken. You don't know
Yes.
why, and you've got to figure that out. Now they do come and explain that 30 minutes into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it still
Very
fits.
specifically.
Very yes.
Very specific.
It is nothing but exposition for that entire period.
Which is, it's fine. It's still a great movie. Okay, I might. Okay, you half succeeded the challenge because now I consider watching Vanilla Sky again. There you go. It's a half win. I'm not
Thank you.
promising.
I'm not going to watch it again, but
There you go. I don't know. I remember watching that movie and it might have been just Tom Cruise's fault. I'm not gonna lie. You guys know I don't like him, so.
This is fair.
That's what I want to get into. How do you not like Tom Cruise as an actor? I understand people don't like him as a person.
Oh, I don't have a problem
as
with
an-
him as an actor, but
Yeah, it's as a person.
It's as a person. Like that's the part where I have a problem with. Like I'm gonna admit to you straight away that he was fantastic in Tropic Thunder. Like that role fucking killed me. He did a fantastic job, and I love a lot of movies that he's in, like Edge of Tomorrow. I really love Edge of
It's a
Tomorrow.
great movie.
It's
Also,
really great.
fantastic.
kind
movie.
of it counts in this the category as well.
Yeah,
100%.
that'd be in my top 3. Hands
It's a
down.
really good movie.
Interview with a Vampire.
I have to get around to watching that at some point.
It's a classic, definitely, and he was really good as Lestat, so I liked him in there as well. I did have a crush on him back then. Things have changed. it's no
And
longer
it's
existent.
just soured, and that's why you don't like him now. I get it.
No, it's more personal. It's more personal. But I'm not gonna shame him because I'm a nicer person. But it's like I have a hard time getting to Tom Cruise movies. Let's just put it down like that. And
That's
I'm
fair.
still gonna admit that he has some really good movies. I'm not gonna say he doesn't, and he's a pretty decent actor. I look up to him because he does his own stunts. That's why he broke his foot, poor thing. I do feel for him on that part. But that's it. Like I think I watched Vanilla Sky at the wrong time. Maybe I was on the peak of hating him. That's why I didn't like the movie.
That's fair.
Have you seen that video of him after he makes that jump and you see his foot break?
Yes,
It's insane. It's just the fact that he gets up and then runs
gets
off
up and
afterwards. I'm
runs-
like,
yeah.
why
And they
no?
kept that in the movie.
Yeah,
That's
they
the shot
did.
they kept in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
And it happened here in Hungary, just so you guys know. It happened here.
Hungary broke Tom Cruise's foot.
Yes, it was us. It was
To
me.
go to there.
No, it wasn't. Okay, Vanilla Sky, you say. Katie, do you have a pick? You can only have one.
I think I gotta go with Fight Club. I kind of was talking
Fan.
a little bit to Ryan about this. This movie was one of the first ones that kind of it's one of those rare movies where I went into it knowing absolutely nothing at all, and
Yeah.
I actually halfway through the movie had to go and eat dinner, and I mentioned to my parents, I was like, oh, I'm watching Fight Club, and my mum went, oh, have you figured it out yet? And I went, I have no idea what I'm meant to be figuring out. So that when the whole sequence at the end of the movie happens, it was one of those ones where I actually just sat up and was just like staring at my screen like, what the fuck is happening? It's, oh man, going into it knowing nothing and having the movie just sort of unfold like it does was a movie watching experience unlike any other ones that I've had. And plus, this is just one of the greatest ending sequences of all time.
Yes.
Like, this
Yes.
going into Where Is My Mind, to the point where that song is used for any time anybody loses their mind in anything now. But, oh man, it's just, I think it's so meticulously put together. I'm going back through it and watching, like, for the background stuff, because there's, like, graffiti in it that kind of references what's going on, and wow.
They did a lot with that movie. Like,
I mean, it's like I said, or I said this to Ryan. It's the reason I got properly into Fincher movies, because, I mean, he nailed it with this one.
Now, did you notice that there was something off
I knew
up until that point?
yeah, I knew something wasn't right, but I had no concept of what the wrong part was. Unlike, watching Sixth Sense for the first time and being able to figure out pretty easily, what the twist was. I think I got that within about half an hour of watching that movie.
Totally went over my head.
Yeah, and I was just sitting
Blew
there
my
going,
mind.
maybe it was like something, it might have been that movie has been referenced so much that, like, despite the fact I didn't know the truth, that it had been sort of referenced enough that I was like, oh, I can put these two things together. But I had no concept. Like, the stuff with the soap was really a big surprise when it came to Fight Club, because it was just sort of like, what does soap have to do with any of this stuff? Oh, okay, it actually has quite a lot to do with the integrity to the film. But yeah, I had no concept of other than there was something supposedly to figure out, and I was like, I don't know. What am I meant to be looking for here?
that movie was so smart, and I would recommend it for everyone to go into watching it, which is pretty hard to do nowadays. To watching it for the first time without knowing anything
Yeah.
about it, because otherwise it does well. It's still gonna be a good movie if you
Yeah.
know the twist in it, but it's not gonna be the same experience. That's for sure. Like I remember watching it for the first time, didn't know anything about it, and then when the twist came in, I was like, I'm dumb. How did I not know this?
I think that's the best type of movie like this, when you get to the thing and you kind of go, oh, I'm an idiot. The movie's
Yeah.
been telling me that for the past hour and I've just not been picking up.
So
I'm Jack's
that is a movie.
sense of rejection. Yes.
I worked at Blockbuster.
Oh,
Do they have
yes.
Blockbuster over there?
Yes,
Did they? Did they? Yeah.
we had a
So
blockbuster.
I spent about 10 years of my life working for Blockbusters
Mhm.
and movie theaters and doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And that is a movie that we would put in like while we're shutting down the store and putting all the VHS tapes back up on the walls. That's how old I am. And
I also grew up with VHS tapes, right?
yes, but were you working at a video store that still
No,
rented them?
granted.
That Please Be Kind Rewind, I was the rewinder. That tells you something. But
Aw.
that is a movie that I got all the way up to the big reveal. But I didn't actually watch the movie. It's just something that was on in the background like 6 times in a row. So I knew the movie really well, but I wasn't watching close enough to, pick up the little hints. So
Mhm.
when it finally got to that point, that I shit in the middle of the floor. There's a pile of shit of mine. That's how much it blew my mind.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
And they're like, you need to leave, dude.
so, so
Oh yeah. Understandable. But yes. Okay. Okay. I like.
How about you, Lily?
Yes. Oof, it's a really hard one. Because my heart says Nolan, and then my mind says Forgotten, which is a Korean movie, and
oh
I
yes, you have told
recommend
me
it
about that one.
to Ryan as well. Not like 2 days ago on Twitter when you asked for new movies to watch, and it's hard because, oh my god, it's hard to talk about it without spoiling it. But I think it was, as you said it as well, Ryan, previously, that nowadays it's so hard to find a good mind-bending movie or TV show, whatever. And this was definitely on the list that freaking surprised the shit out of me. I was like, whoa. I was honestly thinking that I am all caught up on everything, but I cannot stress this enough. I say this every single time when I have the chance. Korean filmmaking is A-list on every single level. Like nowadays, I find myself choosing a Korean movie before I choose an American one, or before I choose a French one, or before I choose anything else, because they are freaking awesome, and I love how they can handle characters, for example, because they do an awesome job at that. And I think what worked the best for Forgotten is that you got they established your connection to the main character really, really well, and that's why when the twist came in, you were like, "The fuck." What the fuck? And it was and then they dared to do a second twist, so there's actually two twists in the movie, and you're like, what the hell happened? Jesus Christ. And it was just such a good movie that since I watched it for the first time and it was an accidental click, I was like, I don't know what to watch, I've forgotten, I don't know what this is, I will watch it. That was it. Like I never planned to watch this movie, but I was bored and this was there and I just watched it. And ever since then I watched it like 10 times and it still surprises me to this day. And I think that says a lot. So that's why I said that you should watch it as well, Ryan, because I think you would genuinely love this movie. It's
I'm not going to lie. Until you just said my name, I was trying really hard not to listen to you so nothing would be spoiled.
So I think we're good.
We're good. We're good. I didn't spoil anything, though.
That way, any information I received, it would already be forgotten.
Oh, okay. No, I see what you
That's
did
funny.
It's funny.
It took me a minute.
Okay, you mentioned Nolan though. You mentioned
Yes.
Christopher Nolan. Do you know what's so interesting about his production symbol, syncope?
Nope.
Well, it's a maze.
It's a maze. So his take on filmmaking, what he tries to weave into all of his films, is this idea that here in life, we don't really know what's going on. We only get our view. We don't have a top-down view of where our decisions go and what's going to happen.
See, that the maze is in his name as well.
Oh, like there it is.
There it is. So his take on filmmaking is that you shouldn't know what's going to happen.
Yes.
It should be as if you're going through a maze, not knowing which direction, will lead. So that is why he's kind of the master of this. That's why I said anything, especially early Nolan. I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I think
Ryan.
Memento is one of those ones that I went into and enjoyed so thoroughly. It was because I went through a period after watching Fight Club where I was like, I want to watch all of the movies.
Yeah.
It was one of those movies that made me go, I want to watch more movies. This is great. And that was the first one after watching Fight Club that made me go, oh wow, okay, so that one was. I don't think it surpassed it, because I think there was nothing that was going to touch the experience I had watching Fight Club, but it was the closest I had to just that kind of experience watching a movie like that. It's also just really sad, the end of that movie.
It is.
Like, understanding the whole, like, the picture of that movie is very heartbreaking. Which is something that you don't really get from this movie, actually, because the end of the book is very sort of what's the word? There's a word. No, it's sort of it doesn't have quite as nice an ending. It kind of it turns off and peters out, and there's a.
What are you talking about? All of the the people from his support groups limping in on their crutches to.
But it's a very different. Yes, this is true. There's a way more of a religious element to the book that is not in the movie, which I think was a smart move, personally. But yeah, Memento is one of those ones where I wasn't expecting it to be quite as sad as it was when I got to the end. I was like, I feel bad for this guy.
Yeah, I am also very glad that it was Ryan who said that Nolan is the master of mind-bending movies, because I would sound biased, because I already told everyone that Nolan is my favorite director. So.
In our first episode on Nolan, I think we already know what we all stand on this.
We already know, so. But it's true, and I agree. I think he's doing the best freaking mind-bending movies, even though I just said that Forgotten is one of my favorite ones. But, when it comes to mind-bending movies as a whole, I would always turn to Nolan, because all of his movies are like, oh, what's happening? Okay, I got it now. No, I don't got it. Wait, I got it. So yeah, we like Nolan. I love Nolan.
thinking about a movie where what movies didn't work on that level.
Oh,
And the
okay.
one that came to me, and I don't know if you guys seen it, and I don't know if you call it mind bending or just like plot twist heavy,
Okay.
but it's a simple favor.
I
Just
haven't seen that one.
didn't work for me. Because it's like this murder mystery thing going on, and it's kind of, it was presented as like you're not really sure what's going on, and it does like 3 plot twists at the end of the film. But it was like, in the just the way that I watched it, it was
It's
like
Anna
one,
Kendrick and Blake
yeah,
Lively.
and Blake
Okay.
Lively, and it's the guy who does, oh, what is his name? Hang on a second. The guy who did Bridesmaids and
Paul Fake.
Paul Feig. There you go.
There you
My
go.
brain was going Paul King, and I'm like, that's the guy who did Paddington. That's not who I'm
Yes.
thinking of. Um, yeah,
Is
Paul
Paddington
Feig.
mind bending? I wouldn't talk about Paddington. But it's okay.
But it was like they had all of these plot twists at the end of it, and you think that maybe they would have gone too far. I honestly don't think they went far enough. I think they actually plot twisted themselves into having too simple of an ending. And it frustrated me that like there wasn't something else to it. Like they kind of revealed a bunch of this stuff, and then when they finally had like the last one, I was like, I'm still waiting for another step. Like it feels like you haven't actually gone far enough in this moment, and it was made me sad because it was like up until that point was quite an interesting and fun movie, but I think they simplified it too much when they finished it off.
Interesting. I haven't watched the film, so I cannot say anything about it. But I wonder, do you have a movie like that in your mind, Ryan? That just didn't
Oh,
work?
the bad ones?
Well, just the ones that didn't quite work.
Yeah.
So the two that immediately come to mind, there was a sci-fi movie called Existence with a Z at the end.
No way. Wait. Am I thinking the same one you are saying right now?
Oh yeah, there it is, 1990s. I was like, I'm fairly sure I saw this on this list somewhere. It's
Oh, okay. No, I was thinking another one. Okay, go on.
That was horrible.
It was.
it's
Okay, I
got
was thinking another one.
74% on Rotten Tomatoes. Empire gave it 4 out of 5.
They're wrong. They're wrong.
They are. It wasn't a good film.
Oh, it's a
And,
Cronenberg movie. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You can tell how I feel about certain directors. Yes, it's a Cronenberg movie.
I have no feeling.
And the
for
number
Cronenberg.
23 with Jim Carrey.
Oh wait.
Oh.
I cannot get behind that one.
Okay, why? Now I'm interested.
The number 23.
The fact that I can't even tell you why probably says it all. Like it's another one of those movies that I think purposefully dropped all of the details of it out of my head.
Sorry,
Because I
8% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What number?
That one?
23.
8. Yeah, the number 23 has 8% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Aw.
And that's a little high, I think.
Wow.
But I hope it's
Yeah,
not because you don't like Jim Carrey.
No, I love Jim Carrey, and,
Okay,
and
good.
Loves Jim Carrey.
especially as a person, I love Jim
Good.
Carrey.
Good.
I think, and I think the fact that he switches between the comedic and the dramatic roles, even when he's ill prepared to, I think is just it really speaks to his ability as a performer and as a person who wants to stretch and challenge themselves. So, yes, I love him. Hated the movie.
Seems like
I
most
think-
critics agreed with you on that one.
Yeah.
And I don't even think if they ever like brought an explanation. It's one of those where there wasn't a good or a bad explanation or an underwhelming explanation. I just think there was
Of the
no
story?
explanation.
That was an
I think so. Am I wrong?
That was an explanation. I think what was the twist at the end is that, was it a journal that he finds? I think, and then it turns out that he wrote the journal himself. So he was reading his own words, and he got, obsessed with his own obsession from previously, or something like that. I haven't seen it in a long time now, but that was something. That was some kind of explanation at the end. I think it was, I like the idea where you can get obsessed with something, maybe it's a number, maybe it's an event, maybe it's whatever. But I think where they went completely sideways is that they just couldn't put a coherent story around it. And I think that was the movie's worst part. Like, you know, the story just went nowhere, basically. But I think Jim Carrey could easily pull off a serious role. And I think even if the movie wasn't great, he proved it there that, you know, he can do this as well. Like, he doesn't always have to be the funny guy. He can do more serious roles as well. And I think I enjoyed that part. But once again, I've only seen it once, so memories are faded now. I'm not gonna lie. It's a bit like distant. So, you know, I believe you. I believe you. I think there are so many that they wanted. I think about what I don't like is that they so obviously put it in your face, like, this is a mind-bending movie. You should be in awe of this movie. And you're like,
We're so smart.
we are so smart and we are twisting it so smart. And you're sitting there like, yeah, no, it's not, you're not. And, you know, the thing is that I tend to turn those movies off. So at the moment, nothing comes to mind because, you know, okay, there's one that comes to mind. A Cure for Wellness is one of them.
Man, yeah, that had a really good marketing campaign and I was really interested in it. And then it came out and all the reviews were kind of naff. So I ended up never watching it.
Oh, you dodged a bullet because I was like, I haven't watched it in the theaters. I will put that out there because I was in my phase where I started reading Rotten Tomatoes and I was like, oh, it's at 23% or something like that. So I'm not going to watch it in the theaters. And then it happened like 2 or 3 months ago where I was like, oh, it's up on Netflix now. I can watch it. So I started it and I only watched 20 minutes and I turned it off because I was like, nope. Mm-mm. It was like, it was so in your face that we are smart. This is a mind-bending movie. You want to watch this movie because you're going to twist the shit out of it. And it's going to be so good. And you're like, no.
I'm good. Thanks, guys.
It's good. I'm leaving now.
Now, you mentioned feeling the same way about Triangle, or that it or angered you, or...
Oh, that movie. Oh.
Please.
Oh.
Please.
That movie angered the shit out of me. I was like, oh, fuck you guys. And that's a good thing. In a good way. It was a good movie.
Oh, it's in a good way.
It's in a good way. But it's like, I'm thinking about that movie and I am so fucking frustrated with it. So, I don't know. Did you see it, Katie?
I haven't seen it. And the way it's been talked about around me, I would quite like to see it. So please be vague.
Shit. We might have to discuss this privately, Ryan. But basically what I didn't like, and I try not to spoil anything for Katie, is that it's, you know, that it's about what triangle it's about.
Yeah,
right?
the one triangle.
Yes, the one triangle.
Yes, isosceles.
Personally, I'm a fan of a right angle.
So, you know, it was obvious at the beginning that there's going to be some kind of twist on it. But then it got so mind-bending that I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I felt like I was stupid. I was like, why? Why is this happening? And it frustrated me so much. I was watching the movie like this. Oh, fuck you guys, fuck you. So that was but it was really, like, I loved how, oh no, that's a spoiler. Fuck. Okay. I love the ending.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, but it still frustrates me even to just think about that movie because I felt like I was stupid and I am not stupid.
You're not stupid. Nobody saw where that was going.
You.
Oh man.
So it's a good movie.
Yeah. Just scrolling through this page of various different types of mind-bending movies, I saw Mulholland Drive pop up, and that's a movie that makes me very angry.
Oh no.
And the reason I never got into David Lynch as a director, I watched Mulholland Drive. I knew it wasn't going to be like straightforward.
Yeah.
And I was actually okay with it at the end of the movie. I was kind of like, okay, well, that was weird, and I'm not really entirely sure what happened, but fine. And then I went on Wikipedia to read what the plot was written out just to see if I could get like an understanding of it from a different person's perspective, right? And I found a quote on the Wikipedia page, which I don't actually think is on there anymore, but it was basically Fincher going, not Fincher. I'm thinking David is in my head, so it was basically Lynch going, "Oh yeah, the movie makes perfect sense to me." I'm like, "Yeah, you made it. Don't make me feel like I'm stupid because you made the movie."
But this is also a director who
Fuck
has
you.
famously said that it is not his job to have audience understand his film.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not
true.
his
There's
it's not his job to explain anything to his audience.
there's a level of that I don't mind. I think there's a level of like, don't talk down to your audience, allow your audience to take whatever they want out of it, but also don't act like everything actually does make sense when it doesn't. Like, it
Have
will
you
make
seen
sense to you.
Eraserhead?
I have not.
Nothing makes sense.
But it's the way that the quote made it. So it was like, he understood. He was like, "Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me." And like, of course it makes sense to you. You wrote the thing. Don't make it out like everybody else is just in a different like I don't know, intellectual level, because you know, you didn't make it so that everybody could possibly understand. Just like the concept of the thing made me annoyed at the movie. I'm like, no, I'm done with this now. Fuck you.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay.
I
Yes.
don't do hard drugs, and I think that's why I don't like David Lynch movies. I think that's honestly like if I were on shrooms, I think any one of his movies might make some sense.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm fine with the idea that maybe the movie shouldn't make sense, and that like it's honestly, it's like, either it makes sense or it doesn't. Don't make it out like, just because you know what it means and everybody else doesn't know what it means doesn't mean that you're on some kind of other level of like existence to the rest of us.
Fair. Fair
Like,
enough.
it
fair
can
enough.
exist. You can just say that it's not meant to make sense, and I'd be fine with it. But it's the idea that you're like, yeah, it does make sense, but it's like, ah, fuck off.
Yeah, it's when he says "dumbass" at the end. You know, that's
Oh
that's
yeah,
what
yeah,
gets me.
yeah.
It makes sense, dumbass.
It's like, fuck you.
Now this whole episode just turned into movies. that
I'm me
frustrate us.
annoyed at David Lynch for just existing.
Okay, fair. I have one question, because that movie just popped into my mind, and I would like your opinion. I don't know if Ryan's seen it, but I am guessing he did. Would you say that Bad Times at Air Royale is a mind-bending movie?
No, I don't think I would, because I think that the rules of that world are normal enough that it's just the time that it's kind of plays with in that movie. There's no like, there are people keeping secrets from each other. So it's like a thriller type thing, and it's an excellent fucking movie. But I wouldn't call it a mind-bending film, because I don't think it is. But I think it is very successful in the stuff that it does do. Like, I think all of the reveals of the characters and where they've come from are very well done, and all that sort of stuff. Particularly the guy who runs the hotel.
Yeah.
His is my favorite kind of reveal in the whole movie. But I don't think I would call it a mind-bending film. I think I'd just call it like a sort of mystery thriller. Even thriller is like a stretch. I don't know if I call it a thriller, actually. But it's a good movie. Would recommend.
Have you seen it, Ryan?
I actually haven't seen that one.
You haven't seen Bad Times.
It's a good movie. Music in that movie is incredible.
Oh, everything is incredible.
Yeah.
That was Cynthia Erivo's one of her first roles. And
Yeah, that was the year of Cynthia Erivo, because she was in that, and then the same year she was in Widows,
Yes.
which is a movie I also love. And it was, I watched those two movies within about a month of each other, so I was just like, I just love this woman. I want her to be in everything.
She's amazing. She's amazing. Like, come on. So we got her thanks to Bad Times at Air Royale. Okay. I would. I kind of want to talk about Nolan, but we already did that in the very first episode. But I'm interested to hear what is Ryan's favorite Nolan film, so we can have a reason to talk about Nolan a little bit, a tiny bit.
So, God, I hate. I hate your questions. No, it's probably gonna have to go with Inception on that for favorite, but closely behind that, Prestige and that other one.
Which other one?
Oh, Dark Knight.
Ah, right. The one that all film bros say is the best movie of all time.
Yeah.
I actually meant to say Batman Begins because
I do like Batman Begins.
I love Batman Begins.
if I'm going to just watch a movie, it's going to be Batman Begins
Yeah,
over
fair.
The Dark Knight. Although I think The Dark Knight was technically a better film.
Yes. I will never get over, like, my best friend likes to put, if you have any, like, white dude who has a remote interest in film and you go, hey, what's their, like, one of the best movies? And they're like, it's The Dark Knight, it's the best movie of all time. I'm like, it makes me want to like that movie less because they make it out like it's the best thing since sliced bread. And I'm like, yeah, it's a really good movie, but it's not the only movie that exists.
True.
No, that's number 4 just on my Nolan list.
No,
So
that's fair. I love Inception, but Lily already knows I have issues with The Prestige. The first time I watched it, I don't know, maybe I just didn't give it the attention that it deserved, but I just felt like it was confusing and I didn't get it. Well, I understand what the twists were in it, but they didn't work for me. I felt like the use of time in it is just batshit and doesn't make any sense. Because I just, like, the memories I have of watching that movie are kind of sitting there and going, I don't know where I am right now within the context of this film or within its timeline. None of this is chronological. I don't know where I'm going. I feel like I'm meant to be keeping up. It just annoyed me on a fundamental level that it's the reason why I like to make fun of the fact that Nolan plays with time, because I think he does it sometimes when he really doesn't need to. He just comes along and he's like, this is gonna be a movie that's told in 3 different, over the course of 3 different points in the same day, but they're all gonna take place in different. That's Dunkirk. I'm describing Dunkirk, because it frustrates me. Sometimes I think you just need a narrative that goes from one end to the other. You don't need to just change up the time for the sake of changing the time.
I'm not saying
I think that's I know Lily is like she's about to shit on the floor.
She already knows all my feelings.
Not in
on
the
this.
good way. No, I think that's a very fair argument.
Yeah.
I couldn't get through Dunkirk.
I like
Part of why is
yeah.
because I was flying at the time and I didn't want to see planes being shot down while I was in an airplane.
That's
but
not.
Still, I couldn't do it.
I saw Dunkirk in the cinema, so it was one of those things where I sat down and I watched the whole thing from beginning to end, obviously. Because I don't understand people who walk out on movies. That's never been a concept that I've understood. It was like, I couldn't deal with it. I just walked out. I was like, yeah, but you've just paid, like, my local cinema costs about $9.50 for an adult ticket. I'm gonna sit here and watch the entire movie even if I don't like it. Otherwise you're just wasting money at that point. But that was a weird one because I saw it in the cinema and with my brother and my dad, and the cinema was filled with a lot of older people who clearly probably are alive around the time that this movie took place, and they applauded at the end of it. Never seen that before.
Oh,
It was like, I can
times.
see, but like it just doesn't really happen in the UK though, does it?
It happened with me in the UK 3 times.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Well,
do you ever go to like opening night? That's when all the applause is.
I don't think I've
yeah.
ever been to a movie on opening night. I should
It could
do
be
that
like
at
a
some point.
Sandra Bullock rom-com, and people are going to be clapping at the end.
You know
What
where
movies
it
do people-
happened the
I was gonna
first
say.
time with me? It happened at the end of 12 Years a Slave.
Wow.
That's when it first happened. I watched it in London, and at
London's a
the
different thing though, isn't it?
at the end, everyone was just standing up and just clapping, and I was so surprised. I was so caught off guard because it never happens here as well. It's just never happens, and everyone started clapping, and I was like, "What are we doing?" Like, I was still crying, so I couldn't understand it. I was like, "Why are we clapping?"
The only other movie I've been to where there were people actively reacting to the film like loudly was I saw a preview screening or like a fan screening of Fault in Our Stars, at the Odeon in Brighton like a week before the film came out. So it was it was the end of the movie. People clapped, and also the part of the movie where she tells the author guy to go fuck himself, basically.
Oh yeah, yeah.
People were like whooping, and like yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Fun fact, that movie and book takes place about a quarter mile away from me
Oh, fun!
here in
Really?
Indianapolis. Yeah.
Aw.
They're in a neighborhood right next to. I'm just doxing myself right now. 100%. But no, it is like the best. It's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. So
Many
But did
tulips.
they? I don't know. Did they shoot the movie there?
they shot some scenes with
Okay.
the funky bones, which is the giant skeleton.
Yes.
That is part of our 100-acre forest, part
Aw.
of the Indianapolis Museum of Art.
That's nice.
So yeah, they shot a little bit of it here.
Aw.
Actually,
That's not a mind bending movie though.
It's
we,
not.
we went off from
It's just
the
a fun fact.
mind-bending part.
I actually
That's our tangents. We love our tangents.
oh, I was gonna say something, and then I realized just how close it was. So I'm not gonna put that out. I'll tell you guys afterwards, because then I don't actually want to dox myself.
Well, just let me handle all of that.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a movie that I really like, and
Okay.
I don't remember if Katie said that she saw it or not. I don't know if Ryan saw it. It's Predestination.
I have not seen Predestination.
Oh, we still can't talk about it then.
Predestination.
Yeah, that is not a movie you can discuss whatsoever without going into detail.
No.
Oh right,
no.
yes, I see. No, I haven't seen this movie, but I
Oh,
see.
God, please watch it. I want to talk about it.
Hawk. Yeah, Sarah Snook is in it. I think we talked about this because I feel like I
talked
looked
about
this up
this.
and I was like, "Hey, look, Sarah Snook's in this."
On Pagan's episodes, we talked about it.
That's
because
right.
yes, I was blown away by the fact that none of you have seen it, and I think this movie deserves a lot of hype. I don't know if you agree with me, Ryan, but I think it's an amazing film.
It's on Prime. Oh,
Ryan doesn't agree with me. Oh no. Oh no.
now that's the look of a man who's got a complicated answer to this question.
Yes.
Again, I appreciate the work that went into it from everybody who's involved
Oh no.
in writing and production. And I think it's an incredibly original story, and I think it's thought-provoking and interesting and would make an excellent short story.
Ah.
And having a short story built out into a much longer narrative, for me, was difficult.
I see. So it's like somebody who came up with the short film and decided to make it into a feature.
But do you think it would have made sense or would have had the time to make sense in a short film?
Short story more than a short film. I don't know how that would work as a short film. I don't think it would have time to make sense. But I have read a lot of short stories that have the same feel and the same, it feels like that's what it was. And we were talking about this. There are so many incredible mind-bending films that have come from short stories and short films.
That's true.
This is true.
I wasn't thinking this earlier, but Benjamin Button just popped in my head. If you want to consider that mind-bending,
Yeah,
Probably
that's
isn't,
a
but-
very weird movie.
but that was a short story.
Yeah.
And in the short story, he was born as like a fully grown adult old man.
The thing that really always surprises me about that movie is the fact that Fincher decided to make it. Like, I think it's not the sort of thing you would like necessarily associate with him as a director, because it's a drama above everything else. It's a human, story, and he tends to lean towards sort of crime and mystery or of the like movies. So the fact that he kind of took this sort of very quiet, strange concept and was like, yeah, I'll make this into a feature film, is the one that always kind of makes you go, huh, I don't know how, I think it's, I saw it once, so I don't really remember too much about it, but I think it's one of those ones that it probably was too long, if anything.
Too long.
It is a long movie.
It is
It's
a long
like,
movie. That's true.
probably didn't need to be as long as it was.
Bouncing off that, David Fincher has one of the most unique enjoyable visual styles
Mm-hmm.
of any director out there. And what he did so differently in Benjamin Button than any other film is he does these sweeping camera movements, throws CG in there,
Yep.
going through keyholes,
Mm-hmm.
all of that crazy stuff. Every shot, to my memory, in Benjamin Button is grounded. It only works as if there was a real camera there on set. And obviously, so much of that movie was, composites and a ton of CG in there.
Yeah.
But he used it in such a grounded way. And the thing that always comes to my mind, there's a character who dies in that film, and you watch them die. And if you look at their neck, you see their pulse in their neck slow and stop.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. That's
And it's that kind of detail that he puts in it. And it's the same mind that does all of these crazy shots and uses CG in these really creative ways.
Yeah.
But seeing him ground that for me is just hands down. I would say that it is his best film. I would put that above Fight Club.
wow. That's a statement. I
That
would
is a
say
statement.
that sure
I'm
is
like-
a statement. Not one
Yeah.
I would necessarily agree with, but I appreciate the argument behind it.
Yeah. I always like Benjamin Button because I think it gives a different, because it's just a life story basically, but told backwards. Like, and I love that idea behind it, and I think they did an amazing job, and I especially love the ending part, like, where he has this whole narration that there are some people who swim, some people who play the piano and everything, and it's just him meeting the people that he probably wouldn't have met if he would have lived a normal life, like, I just love the idea behind that whole movie. So it's actually something that I went back to quite a few times because I really enjoyed that movie, and it gives you I think it gives you a little bit of time as well to think about your own life in a way. It's interesting to see it in a different perspective. But yeah, I would call it a mind. I don't think a mind-bending movie necessarily have to be mind-bending in a way like Fight Club is, or Vanilla Sky is, or whatever Nolan movie is. It can be in a way like Benjamin Button does it, and I can appreciate that as well. I think it can work really, really beautifully. And that was another movie in my head, and it just flew away. It's just like. But it was similar to Benjamin Button. it was also Brad Pitt. Oh, it was.
Fight Club.
I know he's in Fight Club as well.
Seven? I mean, I would count
Seven
that
works
as kind
as
of a
well.
mind-bending film.
Yeah.
I'm now
But-
looking up
but-
Brad Pitt to see if I can find anything. I'm just going to name movies for you until you,
And
you
it's
figure it
it's
out.
also Kate Blanchett.
that'll
it's
help.
Babel. I don't know how
Ah.
you say it.
Babel.
There you go. I fucking love that movie. I've seen
Babel.
it so many times. Have you guys seen it?
2006. But I have not seen it. Oh, it's Alejandro. I don't know how to say his last name. Inetru?
Inetru, I think.
Inetru?
Okay, okay.
Guy made Birdman.
Yeah,
Yes.
I had no idea he made Babel.
I love that film. It's not such a mind-bending movie, but because it tells different stories, right? Like, I think it tells 5 different stories that somehow connected, even though it's not coming together at the beginning, obviously.
Psychological
but by the
drama
end,
film.
it's like, I really like that movie.
So like
it's-
Crash.
Yes, in a way, and I appreciate movies like that, where you make all the connections by the end. It's like beautiful.
It's the pilot to This Is Us.
Oh, he did a lot of things. But I think there's one movie that we have to talk before we wrap this up, and I hope that both of you have seen it, and that's Shutter Island.
Oh, yes.
Good.
That I have seen.
There you go. I think that's one of the perfect definitions of mind-bending movies.
I think I knew the twist for that movie going into it, but I wasn't
Why?
sure about it. But it was interesting watching the whole thing and still finding myself second guessing how far they would have gone. Because I'm like, it's like I don't think I'm pretty sure all of this has been set up for him, but like it goes so far that you're kind of like maybe it is.
And I think that's why it works so well.
I think
because
it-
you're
it's-
second guessing yourself. You're like, And I like those movies where you're like, you are pretty set on something, and then you start second guessing yourself. You're like, okay, now I'm no longer sure that I was right or not. And I think Shutter Island does an excellent job at that. And I only knew about the whole twist and everything because I read the book. So I went into the movie knowing what's going to happen, but it still worked. It still worked. I'm going to say that I think that Leonardo DiCaprio should have gotten an Oscar for that role and Golden and everything instead of The Revenant. I'm just going to say this.
I feel like there were many movies before The Revenant that Leonardo DiCaprio should have gotten an Oscar for.
Oh yeah.
Hence the Leo needs an Oscar.
Oh my God, the memes.
Yes.
It's just works so well,
Yeah.
So I will say with Shutter Island, I would not have even named it Shutter Island. I would have just named it Trigger Warning. So that was the entire film. Like that is such a brutal,
It is.
brutal film to watch.
Yeah.
And while it was excellently made, I don't want to ever, ever, ever watch that again.
Oh, I've only seen it once as well. Even the book was hard to read at points. It was like, oof. But you cannot deny that it's freaking excellently made. Like
It is beautifully made. I did find myself sitting there wondering, because Scorsese kind of famously doesn't really care about continuity. And there were multiple points, like really obvious stuff in this movie, where it's like, that didn't cut properly with the thing that came before it. But I was like, I wonder if they decided that really doesn't matter within this film because, his psyche is very fractured within like the whole context of the film. So it was like, I wondered if that was done intentionally or whether he was just being lazy.
Well, so I feel like at this point we can just discuss this one with spoilers
Yes.
because
Oh, yeah.
just saying that there is a twist to this one, I feel like anybody who's watching it is going to take a grasp of that. But my understanding, and I went back because I didn't want to rewatch it before this episode. I did like listen to a breakdown of it and some of the psychology behind the film. So
Yeah.
his two greatest fears are fire and water
Oh, interesting.
because of that backstory.
Yeah.
So I think some of the continuity, like you're talking about, there's a moment where somebody's holding a glass of water, and then in the next shot they're not holding a glass of water.
Yes, I think that
and
was
then that
what
glass
I'm
of water
thinking
is back.
Yeah.
And that was intentional, as in showing that this man has so much difficulty just processing the existence of fire and water that he's completely blocking that out of his mind, that he can't even recognize that they're. He goes to light a cigarette. He won't light his own cigarette. He has other people light his cigarette for him.
Yeah.
Interesting. That is fun.
I love
so that was-
how they paid attention to all those things. And it's difficult to watch it a second time, and I've only seen it once. But I love it that they paid attention to it so well that you can pick up on it as you watch the movie. So it's not something that you can only see if you watch it 2 times, because it's there. It's always there. It's following him throughout the whole movie, and it's like, yes, I like that. It works pretty well.
I wasn't. Sorry, no, you keep going.
Go.
No, I was going to say the only thing I wasn't expecting from this film, because I hadn't actually watched any Scorsese movies before I'd seen this one, was that I was surprised by just how beautiful it is to look at as well. Like the whole sequence where he has the dream and of his wife and like everything burns around them. I was just like, this is just stunning to look at. Like just even objectively, the whole thing is just really pretty. Which is sometimes you get there's like levels to watching movies like this where you kind of keep there's like an element of separation from, because you're kind of trying to figure out the puzzle of it all. So then you will end up. I think the fact that the movie is so beautiful kind of maybe tune into that aspect of it that I might not have necessarily paid attention to the first time. Because I think sometimes directing directors will be as hands-off as possible to allow the story to just be as it is, but this one made the effort to have quite, visually stimulating and interesting things, because that scene in particular is the one I think of when I think about the movie in general.
I agree. Like, ugh, that movie is like, I keep thinking about it, going back to it and watching it again. And I remember that at one point, I even started playing it on Netflix, and I couldn't, because it just, I remember scenes and I'm like, no, I can't. I love that movie and I can't watch it again. It just, oof, I don't know. It's trigger warning. It's like, nope.
It's a trigger warning because there's so many difficult, subjects in there, but also I used to struggle with migraines bad. And that film, when DiCaprio's character has a migraine, gave me a migraine.
Oh no.
Oof, oof.
Which does speak to how good of a director Scorsese is.
Oh
Yeah.
And how good, everybody involved in that film was. To create something so, I can't even think of the word, but, just
I think it's
so
visceral.
impactful.
Yeah.
Visceral. That's exactly the word I'm looking for. So visceral, so impactful that it would actually trigger the same physiological, response that the character has on screen.
Yeah, I find it difficult to watch things where people have like proper sensory overload, which is interesting because I'm watching The Good Doctor at the moment, and every so often he has like these moments of like proper sensory overload, and I'm like, I'm actually feeling anxious now. Okay, like there are times where things like that, and like I find depictions of like high anxiety stuff and like maybe even like PTSD stuff will end up like getting me really amped up, and I have to take breaks after watching things like that because it is such a visceral experience. I'm fortunate that I used to get migraines. I have had a history of migraines, but my migraines come from, I have auras before my migraines go up. So I don't know what triggers them, but it's not something like that, which is handy for me, but because I think if it were that case, I would probably end up having a very similar reaction to the way that you had. Yeah, and that's the end of that sentence because I wasn't sure where I was going with it.
Which fits perfectly in this theme.
Yeah.
It's a maze.
It is a maze. All right, so before we wrap it up, Ryan, I would like you to recommend however many movies you would like to our watchers and listeners. That can be mind-bending, it can be whatever. It can be something that you've seen and you think that it's good and people should watch it. I leave it up to you.
So if we're going mind-bending, I'm going to recommend Dark City, specifically the director's cut, because I did not realize this at first, but if you watch the theatrical version, there is literally a voiceover explaining everything in the first 30 seconds. So watch the director's cut where they don't do that.
Okay.
What I would consider the best film ever made would be Children of Men.
Yes.
I have to get on that at some point.
Yes.
It's one of those ones that's like people talk about it and
You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it, but I also know that it's really emotionally. It's a lot emotionally, so I think it's one of those. I have to be in the right space.
No matter what space you're in, you won't be in that space afterwards.
No.
True. But I have to be in a good enough space so that I can go into it and be okay at least afterwards.
Yeah, just queue up the Lego movie right afterwards to get you out of that space, which is another one. If anybody out there has not seen the Lego movie, that's on my list of best films as well.
Right?
Yes.
Come on.
Another mind-bending one a lot of people don't know as well is The Machinist.
Yes.
Christian Bale. Oh,
That's
and
very heavy as well.
Hard Candy.
Oh, yes.
Hard Candy.
I love Hard Candy.
2005.
Hard Candy was filmed in 3 days, smallest budget possible, but some of the best like close-up cinematography. It's a weird thing to compliment, but some of the best focus pulling
No, but
ever
good focus
in
pulling
any
is
film.
An excellent. It's a skill. Like good focus pullers are gold. I mean, you can get a good. Also,
It's
I've just realised it's
incredible.
got Elliot Page in it, so I'm already more on
Yep.
board.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, one of his first roles.
Oh
Damn,
yeah.
okay.
No, he did that after Juno, didn't he?
No, this is 2005. Juno was 2007
Oh, you're
or
right.
9? 7.
You're right.
7.
Just all indie
I watched
films
it. I
before that.
watched it after
Which-
I've seen
so
Yeah,
Juno.
7.
So, you know, it's
Juno was
good.
also a great movie.
It was a great movie.
Yeah, that goes on the list.
Let's be fair. Oh, I know that we talked about it because it did come up at one point that we should watch Children of Men with Relator, and I
Yeah.
know that you wrote me a message right after Ryan, and I was like, you know, I do get you, but I wish everyone would see this movie because I think it's a must see. Like,
Yeah, I had to say to Troy, I'm like, we should not do that. No, because that is just because it's another film that it's like could just be subtitled trigger warning.
Right.
That is,
that's
I mean,
true, but I kind of wish that. But
I
it's-
also
it
feel like
does-
that it seems like one of those movies that would be quite emotional and you'd want to be able to get into properly, and
Yes, that's
with
what
the
I
rest
wanted
of us
to say.
talking over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those where you shouldn't talk over it. It's you just, you know, but I love Children of Men. I mean, you know, I'm a morbid, so I'm watching it a lot of times, like every year, twice at least.
Wow.
I like to torture myself. What can I say? I'm an idiot.
I probably haven't seen it since 2010 because
Are you serious?
yeah, I mean, that director,
Alfonso Cuarón.
Alfonso, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, would be my Christopher Nolan for
Oh,
my
I
version
like
of Christopher
that.
Nolan. Like
I like that.
I think I don't know if I would say he's the best director because we have our Spielbergs and we have that class, but
Yeah.
for what he does, I would consider him the best younger director out there.
Very good.
He is very, very good. And
He did the
I
best Harry
love-
Potter film.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Well, we have to make an episode, and I want Katie to watch Children of Men now, where we talk about Children of Men, and we have to get you back, Ryan, because we have to talk about Children of Men.
We do that.
Entire episode of Children of Men, we're just sitting there with our
Just-
scotch and cigarettes, just
Just Children of Men. Done. That's it. We might end up being very depressed by the end, but I don't care.
It's just dead air for like 5 minutes, and then we go. So
What I will say, one thing, just completely random with Children of Men, that is that is the best completely digital person, body double ever.
interesting.
True.
Not spoiling anything, just
No, but true.
it's incredible.
It's
And
very
in my
true.
opinion, some of the best long takes in
Oh my god, yes.
film.
Oh my god.
I know the one in
like-
the car. That's
the
the,
car,
that's
yeah.
the really
I
famous
wanted
one.
to
That's
say
not
that,
that's
yeah.
not even the best one.
But
Ooh.
yeah. There are some amazing scenes in that movie. Like,
Yeah.
come on. It's beautiful. All right. Ryan,
I'm gonna
it
go cry.
was please don't. We don't want to make you cry. But it was an absolute honor to have you, my lemon brother. And we're gonna have you back. I'm gonna keep you guys to this Children of Men discussion. I don't care if
Okay,
it's gonna
I'm
be-
into it.
Also, here's an offer, and I want you to consider it, Ryan. Once WandaVision ends, we need to make an episode where we talk about the whole of
thing?
WandaVision.
Absolutely.
The three of
into
us. We have to come back to that and just let's talk how our theories and everything worked out. I want to get back to it because it should be an interesting one.
I feel like we could have filled the entire hour on this episode just continuing that
Probably.
conversation because there's
Probably.
still so much to talk about.
So much. But yes, we're gonna come back because this was a delight, and it's always a delight to talk to you, my friend. Yeah, we love you.
There's a amoeba. It's supposed to be a heart. I'm a guy. I can't do that.
It works.
How do you do it so perfectly? There we go. I think I got it.
There
You
go,
got
there
it.
you go.
It's just
It works.
beard heart.
Aw.
Beautiful.
Majestic beard. Yes, and you guys there's still a pandemic, unfortunately. So please stay safe, put on your masks, and I don't know, just take care.
Yes.
Right?
And also, just
And
because I got to do all of the, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and like our video and make a comment and share it if you like it. All of those things, because, we would quite like more people to come and watch the thing, because we like doing this.
yes.
If you're not
Helps.
subscribed, what the hell are you doing? It takes like 2 seconds to click the little button. Click the little button. Right now.
We're here every week. It's great.
Every Tuesday. Just do it. And before we go, Ryan, where can people
Oh, yeah.
find you? Where?
Well, I told you exactly where I live, pretty much.
That you did. That's true. But you know what I mean.
You know exactly where to find me. Oh my God. So yeah, find me on Twitter. Ryan the Robot Ninja Shark at Ideal Voiceovers, and that is literally it. That's my only social media.
Spectacular.
Yes.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
what
I
I'd
might
say.
create a new Photoshop edit, and I put it over completely in the wrong direction.
Yeah. Lily did my character art for
Oh yes, I did.
for that.
Ah.
Yeah, my Robot Ninja Shark.
Oh, that's
Yes.
adorable. I did not know that was you.
Brilliant.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So thank you.
You're welcome.
But that's the only place you can find me. Don't try looking anywhere else. Don't.
But I mean, we do know where you live, so.
I've got to move.
It's okay. We will only come to visit.
Okay. I'll make coffee.
Okay. Good. Sounds good. All right, fellas. Take care and be good. And we love you all. And,
Godspeed.
we completely fogged up our time, but I don't care because this was a
I think
good
this is good.
conversation. Yeah, it works. It
Yeah.
happens. It happens.
So we're stretching it out further now?
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
Just keep going.
okay? So let's get no.
All right. Take care and
Goodbye.
bye.
Bye.